Collaboration is extremely important to the Agile process, right? I mean, this is really what helps breed empowerment and trust with teams.
You want collaboration, you want buy-in from the group because you want the group to have the interest in whatever the results are of their collaborative work.
Collaboration removes unnecessary waste. Collaboration minimizes and at times removes completely misunderstanding and miscommunication.
And that's what's really exciting, I think, about Span and design thinking and the opportunities for folks to really buy in along the process. And Span just really does that for you. The very first time I saw the Span system, it was hard not to think about all the different ways you could use it. So that was really exciting. And I left the opportunity to understand it, sort of wanting more and wanting to practice it more and having access to it more often.
I was super excited about just the possibilities that this presents to the Agile space. And I had spent some time to write a blog post about how I thought that this was going to be the future of how teams collaborate, distributed across the world.
I got a chance to run a quick workshop and really got to see how groups, how individuals had a chance to, at different stages in the game, use Post-its, put things up, how the ideas came together. We could use different colors and we were drawing ideas and things like this, and it all just made sense, and everybody just instantly sort of understood how to use it right away.
People can stand in front of the wall and collaborate and do brainstorming while drawing on canvas white space, as well as creating various objects.
This was something that was so cool, so forward thinking. I mean, the videos don't do it justice. When you get to actually play with the system and you get to look at how you can move some of these things around, right, just to see, the types of workflow that's there, and that you can click on these things and make them different colors to demonstrate whether or not this is done or impeded or whether it's in progress. I mean, it's so simple to use, and I think that that's one of the things that, from an experience perspective, has really lent itself to being something that I've enjoyed.
Normally what I do with a lot of the prep work that goes into sessions will involve a lot of flip charts. So what's exciting is that I can prep these flip charts right here. So a lot of my meetings will include an agenda where we talk about, what the setup looks like, if we have to introduce ourselves around the room, what our goals are, that kind of stuff. Then we, dig into maybe we're doing, some kind of vision workshop. What is the future, our goals in the next year look like, something like this. People like to know when there's lunch, what the Wi-Fi codes are, all those types of things. So, these are the types of things that I have a chance to play with here with Span, and I certainly don't need to be bringing this with me as I arrive to a session or prepping these in advance or doing them day of. They can already exist, or I can have the group help me do it.
The Span system is an incredible fit for the Agile process, right? Beyond just being flexible, you have so much opportunity to be creative, right? And that's one of the things that we tell teams is we want teams to own their team process, their team rules, their team norms. And I think Span is an extension of that. Right? You're having teams that are going to be able to come in and say, what is the challenge that we're trying to solve today, and what are the tools at our disposal? And if we're really trying to visualize workflow, we can do that by just simply taking some of these notes and moving them around. Like in this case, I could say, you know what, the US team is struggling with account summary. I'm going to bring it over to the European team, and they're going to work on this today. And then what I'm going to do, now that the European team's working out, I'm going to give the US team something different. I'm going to give them the spend trends report, right? And I can bring that over. And what's going to be nice about that is that as these teams come into work, they're going to be able to see that they have these changes. And we were even talking earlier about having the notion of release notes, right? Where I could come in and get the Cliff Notes version of what's happened over the last 8 to 12 hours, right? That to me is what the Span should be for future development.
Span has given me a lot of food for thought. A lot of the work that I typically do is analog, a lot of paper, we talked about this, a lot of different materials that I need to bring together. And it's so needed to have it all in one place in a digital context where it just is housed in one large canvas, and it's so much more interesting and versatile and valuable when it's the canvas that you can create than any of the other, Microsoft Office suite stuff or Google document kind of things that I have been using in the past. So it has me thinking more and more about how do I digitize a lot of the work that I'm doing. And that's really exciting for me to push myself to get there and help my clients get there as well.
My favorite features of Span are, first, it's graphics. I like the fact that I can draw on white space by using my finger as if I would on whiteboard with a black marker or a red marker. I like the fact that I can go back and erase what I have drawn if I have done it mistakenly and correct myself. I like the fact that I could actually produce graphics up front, upload them to the system from elsewhere remotely, and come to a meeting almost unprepared with empty hands, invoke Canvas on the wall, and pick up where I left off in front of my audience and amend graphics and draw on the wall as if I would with a simple black marker and whiteboard. Another key advantage of being able to draw with my finger and actually helping and having it done electronically is that I could come back to my original drawing many times, almost infinitely, in front of various audiences and do it over and over and over again. And it saves me a lot of time. I don't have to recreate, rewrite, redraw on white canvas as if would if I had to travel. And I do travel, so I could invoke my graphics from anywhere in the world instantly and not have to reproduce complex structures and complex design.
I think Span can absolutely transform agile processes. I mean, if we just talk about the idea of a Kanban board, right? We talk about how do teams manage their workflow. Span is going to give us the ability, like if you look, we have not started, in progress, done, and accepted. We're going to be able to really build out a workflow here and bring it into where these teams are working on things. And specifically to this workflow, if I wanted to add something else onto my map, I could do that. So if I said, you know what, it's not just good enough to be accepted. I would like to also know that I have my customers engaged, and I want customer feedback. So I can add this to my workflow and customize it per team. And add this almost to the end of my workflow, and I can continue to build this based on the types of constraints or types of things that I want my team to deliver with.
A lot of the work that I'm doing is focused on a people-centered approach to problem solving. So if people are at the core of coming up with the solutions to their own problems, I think that Span is a really excellent tool that helps them get there. And it really is the opportunity to use a technology in a different way that I haven't had the freedom to do before, because I've always sort of thought, how do I get everybody in the room? What's nice about Span is I don't have to have everybody in the room physically, and it's not on me as the facilitator to deliver the product back to them. The group is doing it themselves. So I really get to focus on process, which is where my expertise is anyways, and the group gets to focus on content and problem solving, and that's really exciting.
Teams need to visualize information because it helps breed accountability, right? What we want is we want engagement. We want teams to be able to see exactly what they're going to be working on, and we want them to feel like they have the ability to engage with a specific tool and own that to conclusion. To say that it lived up to my expectations would be an understatement.